Federico. Round of applause for Federico, please.
Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me well? Yeah? Cool. So, it's about artificial intelligence. I joined SAP 3 years ago, but let me tell you something. Whoops. I have been a gamer all my life. In fact, my parents divorced when I was 5 years old, and my dad got the magnificent idea to give me a Commodore 64, and I started playing my own games by programming them. And then since then, I worked in media, sports, and entertainment for 20 years. And let me tell you something. I'm professor in Loughborough University here in London, actually a visiting lecturer for Esports. I never imagined when I was a kid that video gaming will reach this professional level, but that's why you are here in the audience. And this opportunity in the market is not only about artificial intelligence, it's about every other segment that you can imagine for esports from any other industry, particularly from entertainment. I believe that it doesn't really matter if this is a sports or not. This is a whole new cultural movement which matches up with what happened on our societies across the globe in the last 20 years. The last industrial revolution, which is the digitalization of every asset. We went from analogic to digital. My grandparents, Italy and German, they met somewhere in the street. My parents met in the auto cinema. Our generation met on Tinder. And my kids, I don't know what they're going to do, but something new. And this process of digitalization happens in every aspect of our society, including entertainment. And obviously, we have IoT, and we are tracking KPIs from everything we can, because this opens new doors to imagine business models, to measure ourselves, to see how we perform, how our services are doing. But, on esports, this revolution is already there. The fact that the ecosystem is completely digital opens the door much easier than in the sports industry to develop new business models. And the fact that The Simpsons, 1 month ago, more or less, broadcasted esports as part of their chapters, means that this is already a mainstream thing. We have some titles, we have some stakeholders at the moment, and they will change across time. But the dream of esports will never go away. We have too much people watching it, developing it as a culture, and we should embrace it and adopt it from many different angles. However, it's not so simple to do. People don't like to be tracked nowadays. Why? We receive, depending where we live, between 5,000 to 8,000 advertisements per day. So what we have on our head? AdBlock Plus. We ignore advertisements, right? And marketing agencies are looking all the time for new and constructive ways to reach their audiences. But audiences don't like to be tracked as before. They don't like to be shouted what they should consume. They like to be convinced. However, when you try disruptive innovation and you try to change something, the immune system of every organization comes and attacks you. What happened with the sports at the beginning? This is a niche, it's for freaks. It will never happen, and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you an example. Steve Sasson, 1975, Kodak. He was an engineer at Kodak. At that moment, Kodak has 80% of the photography industry in the world. Okay? He invented the first digital camera, which is the device that he has in there. This one, 0.0 something megapixels. Kodak got a magnificent opportunity at that time, right? I mean, they dominate the market, and they get the new digital version of a camera. So, well, what happened is that during many years, since the 75 till the iPhone moment, there was no disruption across digital photography. I mean, it was in there, but it was not amazing. When the iPhone arrived around 2006, then all the photography market became democratized, and Kodak, in fact, went bankrupt. On esports and entertainment, this is exactly what's going on. In the 70s, the first LAN parties in the academic world. During many years, yes, some community developing this, but then with the League of Legends moments in 2010, more or less, then it became this disruptive industry that we are living at now. And the reason that is growing around 35% per year means that we are just at the beginning of the curve. So now is the moment to get involved. And I will show you some examples how artificial intelligence is influencing on gaming and opening new business opportunities for many different brands. This is Glue Mobile, one of our partners. They track all the movements of the players in their ecosystem of games. They develop mobile games. They are tracking around 30,000 events per second. So at the end of the day, it's 2 billion events of the users in their games. With all this data, they can compile new models, train their marketing campaigns, and offer the right product at the right time for each person. We don't know what we don't measure. The idea now is that we can measure, let's say, easily, embedded in the product, not as an advertisement, because people don't like to be tracked, but embedded in the core of the gaming opportunity. You can arrive to knowledge level of your audience that like never before. Another example, Tip24. This is an online lottery. When I think about lotteries, I remember my grandma. Why? Because it was like the entertainment for them. They get a ticket and they wait 1 week to see which number. That was super exciting in the 30s. But nowadays, people need the speed and they don't like to wait that way. So new online lotteries are proposing new ways of entertainment for that audience. As an example, Tip24, with our technology, developed between 800 and 900 variables to track what the people likes and what the people does on their ecosystem. By then, they can decide which products are more appropriate for them to use. An online casino actually has between 1,000 to 3,000 slot machines online. Some slot machines are more for more risk takers. Some slot machines are more for conservative players. Your experience and my experience in that online casino will be completely different depending how the algorithm and the models that the application has in the backend is tracking us. Some people will see some machines, some other people will see others. And this micro-segmentation is where the industry is going. Even on games. The games that we play will not be games anymore. The eSports games are social communities. In the future, we can even do our groceries inside one of the games. It's up to the publisher where they want to arrive. But the people is in there already. And some of them go to watch, some of them go to play, some of them will go to interact. And as long as we have new service providers, this ecosystem can nurture a digital community which doesn't need to move between one website and another. The game can arrive to whatever we need. Looking beyond, we have developed the eSports arena of the future alongside HOK, one of the major architecture firms actually in the market. The idea is that the arenas that we are currently using have not been developed for eSports and the new way of entertainment and the new way of engagement of the audiences. So we came from scratch in 9 months with different concepts and models out how this arena should be constructed. So our vision is this is scalable. This is a digital twin where people can attend, obviously physically, but also digitally. And we have artificial intelligence in the arena, let's say, from the very beginning, from the construction phase till the operational day, to engage with the people, not only by advertising to them, but understanding their needs and servicing properly. Basically, it's all about accepting the new rules. Those who don't accept the new rules will not lead the change, will stay behind. Many sports are facing that challenge, right? And there is a lot of digital transformation processes out there. And you need to understand the following. Entertainment is the new religion. okay? People engage with entertainment today the same way that those ancestors did in the Middle Age with the religion. There is a lot of passion. Stadiums became kind of temples, and people go there to live an experience. And it's not only about consuming, it's about sharing with others. So we need to think our business models this way. The second point is data is the new gold. As more data we get, and the better we administrate, we can understand your needs and deliver a proper service. If you don't deliver a proper service, the cost of change on entertainment today is very low. I grew up in a town where the maximum entertainment was every 15 days, one football, soccer game. Now, I can watch Twitch, I can open Netflix, I can go to see any other sports event very easily because, you know, traveling became also a low-cost barrier with the new transportation methods. And you need to understand that the customer is the new God. We need to put the customer always in the center of our core operations. That way, they will keep coming to our temple. Otherwise, there is other temples out there to pray. Thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Round of applause for Federico. Right, so we have some questions for you. First one I wanted to ask you, and it's maybe a little bit of off message, but when you're talking about digital communities, and you're saying, you know, if you don't accept the new rules, basically you're going to fall by the wayside. How much of an ethical consideration is there to ensure that this doesn't become basically the future generation simply just being, hang on a minute, we're in a big dark room ourselves, but pretty much that, being locked away and simply concentrating on digital communities and almost only that rather than going out and meeting real people.
I understand. This is a prejudice or something that the media have been posting very heavily over different societies. Every month we have a news that some guy is locked in his room ordering pizza for 45 days and his mom is ringing the door and nothing is happening. But that's one case of many. It's like saying, oh, because there is some people addicted to gambling, then we should close every gambling market out there, including casinos. And there is casinos and bingos out there, and people are still living healthy. And in fact, gambling became official in the US this last year, and the US is still performing. So at the end of the day, I think the digital communities, they meet at the end in real life. And the fact is, when I grew up, there was radiocasters that you can connect like continent to continent. This was like very super advanced. Oh, I can listen to someone talking another language. And I grew up in Buenos Aires. That's very far away from any other city in the world. So that was super cool. And now you can open your chat and link with someone maybe in Australia or in the UK and meet afterwards in an eSports tournament or sports event that you like or whatever other activity you like to develop. So these digital communities, at the end, they met face to face. And the idea that eSports community is locked and not moving themselves that much is not real. In fact, professional eSports players, they train as much as normal athletes, and they also have a healthy way of training. Otherwise, they cannot perform at the highest level.
Tell me more about that, because we've heard a lot about the intensity of the training.
Right.
How is that balanced out? What would a week look like for a professional gamer in terms of literally balancing out that movement?
Right. Well, I'm not a coach and I don't own a team, and probably a coach can explain you better than me, but I have spent time with teams out there because, well, I work in different universities. Universities now are getting teams officially to play around, and I spent some days with the team in Skolkovo Institute in Moscow, where I'm mentoring there. So basically what they do, they live normally in a house in kind of boot camp, and they have some people cooking for them. So they have breakfast in the morning, they exercise a little bit, they do some tactical and technical training with their coaches, and they do some gym. And I would say it's much healthier than many other industries out there, but because this is trendy and fashion and is in the news, then we start concerning about it. And it's good that we concern, because we should always look forward. But if you look the society holistically, then there's many other gaps out there, and eSports is quite advanced.
Okay, let's look at some of the questions that are coming in via Slido. Thank you very much for getting in touch. Here we are. Let's take the top one there. In what ways is AI even monetizing the esports industry?
I think it's pretty clear that using artificial intelligence, you can understand your customer much better. So when you understand your customer, then you regulate your marketing budget more efficiently. And that's a way of monetizing or getting better monetization of your assets. So as long as we develop more models, more deeper, over the data that we have, and we can cross data from different niches. It's not only about the fan data, it's also about the competition data, the performance analytics, and then we can understand that maybe every time that we have some event in the game, I would say for the sake of making it easier, just a 3-point on the basketball game, maybe people tends to consume 10% more beer at that time. So if we detect that trend, crossing the KPIs, then we can offer that product at that time and not a coffee, because people prefers beer. Sure. So, and it's not only about that, it's also about understanding the user personally, and maybe we offer to you beer and to me coffee, because we understood that I don't drink alcohol. That's what artificial intelligence is going, and machine learning and all these processes will collaborate to a better monetization.
Okay. Right, a flurry of questions coming in. How can esports AI be used by governing bodies to attract new audiences to their sports in hard-to-reach territories?
Well, I would say that hard-to-reach territories, it depends who you are, because probably, let's say for the NFL, it's difficult to reach some territories because people don't understand American football, right? And the same happens on eSports. When I go to Russia, World of Tanks is one of the most popular games, and that game is not so popular in the UK, right? So it depends who you are, the difficulty and the barriers that you have to reach there. Artificial intelligence at the end, understanding the user, will help you to detect what the KPIs and the messages that you need to send to the audience to captivate them with your content. At the end of the day, the game is one more line of streamed content, which is very interactive and highly engaged compared to others, like newspapers. But they're still competing.
Sure. Okay. Right, let's just head down to here. Yeah, this is it. This is an interesting one. Yeah, will we eventually see esports gamers move away from keyboard and mouse competition into VR and AI physical competition?
Yeah, that's a good one. In fact, I recommend everyone in the room to visit Halo. It's a Japanese company developing this type of competition with augmented reality. We will see virtual reality getting into esports much higher. As soon as we have a virtual reality set, I drop it to the floor and it's not broken and it's not costing me 1,000. Yeah. So this is a hardware rule that we should assume that it's good to measure when the popularization is coming. And yeah, I learned this one recently and I like it very much, because I'm convinced that when the prices go down and this is easy to handle for my kids or for myself, then much more games will come out there on this new environment. That doesn't mean that the current games will disappear. We will should have new niche, microsegmentation, entertainment verticals out there, and we are going that way. In the past, we used to have, let's say, mainstream ways of entertainment, and now we have very niche and specialized pots for the taste of everyone.
How quickly is the cost of the tech declining?
Well, I mean, we have some rules out there, right? With this guy from Apple, I forgot now his name. He prognosticated every 2 years the memory thing is duplicating and the cost is going and a half. I don't remember now, but basically, I think it's so easy to understand that the development and the scalability of software and hardware is coming to insane levels, or levels that we cannot imagine very quickly, and we should need to be prepared to embrace the change when it comes, and it's coming much quicker than before, because the digital society is running at a higher speed than the analogic one.
What impact, I mean, we've spoken before with Walter about esports and professional gaming sitting alongside, the music industry and sports. How many sports should be worried about the rise in esports in terms of taking away their audience? Because obviously it's a generational thing.
If I were a sport, I would not be worried. I would be embracing, and I will be adopting it as an opportunity to deliver my message. And some sports might discover that in the future they are more popular on digital than in real life. I don't know. This is something that can happen. In fact, it's happening with some teams that they started developing the digital brand. And I got an example in Netherlands. There was a team that organized a signature day with the captain of the first team in football and the captain of the esports team. And the kids came to the room and they went more to the table of the esports team. So this type of stuff, we should not be surprised about it, because new generations, they always like to change what the previous generation have been doing. And people, when tango started or when jazz started, music people say, oh, this is not music. This is a new segment that is bad, is complicated, is nothing to do with the standards that we have. But then, so many people dance at tango, so many people listen to jazz, that at some point, the saviors of that industry adopted it. Mm-hmm. So I would say that as soon as you do it, the better. And from the esports perspective, there is no need to adopt the sports structures. Esports can create his own ecosystem with tips from different industries that have been developing healthy business models out there.
Okay, let's head through some more questions. Take the next one. Hang on, here we are. So how does gaming use AI to turn free gamers into gamers who are willing to spend in-app?
Well, I'm working in a project with one publisher actually about this. And it's very curious. I mean, the way the user is using the keyboard and the mouse, you can detect even if he is right hand or left hand. I mean, you can arrive to that level as long as you track many people and you understand how they move. So based on this, I mean, you can go deeper and deeper in which hour is he connecting, what he is consuming probably, where is he located, and then you create models out for conversion. I used to work in the fantasy game industry some years ago, and normally you get 2 to 5% of premium users. That means pay users that are not only on the free ecosystem of that game. On esports, that's higher, it's going higher because they are becoming service companies. That's why I came to the concept of digital communities, and in the future, we may have other services in there, from clothing to groceries. Mm-hmm. And that's a futuristic vision that, because of the speed of the developments that we have, it might come before we realize about it.
Okay. Here we are. What academic experience is required for esports AI analytics?
Cool. Well, I mean, academic experience, as I have met magnificent programmers that have never been in the university yet. They are just 14-year-old kids, really, really with a lot of capabilities to program, and they do fantastic work. And then you have typical data scientists that they graduated somewhere, and now they are trying to go into esports, artificial intelligence analytics. I would say there is a wide range of opportunities out there, and it's more of who you are and what you can deliver more than the title that you have. This is also about the authenticity of the esports community, mm-hmm. which I really enjoy. And yeah, I recently met one guy, is the CTO of esports startup, and basically he posted his model for League of Legends tactic map on Reddit. Someone read that and invited him to be the CTO of that startup. That will never have happened before this digital revolution and digital communities that we are talking about.
Yeah, you don't need to go with your CV and go to a traditional interview anymore. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? How important is physical fandom, or is digital engagement king for esports? I suppose it's a combination of the two, is it not? As we've seen with the events.
Look, physical fandom is another new segment that is growing. I mean, I have seen recently Rocket League made a partnership with a manufacturer of toys, and they are selling on Amazon the Rocket League version on physical. And these type of engagements, like Fnatic presented here 10 minutes ago, the clothing, we will see more and more. As long as young people uses esports, brands, companies, and let's say artistic movements will go this way because young people always sets the trend for the generations.
Okay. Let's head into the next one. Yeah, regarding the, I think you explained it, but maybe you can expand upon it about that arena that you described. How is it tailored for
Sure.
esports in particular?
Sure. We will present a white paper in the next month about it. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, I will post it in there and you can read more. But basically, the idea is the modularity of the esports that, as long as the teams are evolving during the competition, you can set up the audiences differently inside the arena itself, something that is not happening actually with the current setups because they were not developed for this idea of 6 teams or 5 against 5 and divided seats into the room. It's also tailored from digital perspective. The arena itself is constructed with artificial intelligence software tools and certain capabilities from a screen perspective and the way the people enters and moves out of their seats to keep engaged on what's going on inside at the moment. Because what we see, esports tournaments, they last, let's say, 12 hours during a Saturday. People goes in there and they don't stay 12 hours watching like this. They watch, they go out, they eat, they come back. And when they go out, there is a wall because normally that arena was constructed that way that people cannot see what's going on from the consumer side into the room. And the idea here is that you can continue following the game no matter where you are, if you are in your seat or consuming something outside.
Okay, right, I get you. Fine. Here we are. What can AI use in esports? Teach us about usage in traditional sports.
Okay. Well, traditional sports, they are adopting nowadays, let's say, new technological tools to help the referees to get performance analytics and so on. I think esports, the digital nature of it, and the way that the publishers have been escalating their business since -0 is something that everyone should learn because this business model is what every sport would like to have, which is people consuming their content 24 hours, 7 days a week, from playing perspective till a spectator perspective. So I would say that artificial intelligence as a concept itself is applicable to every industry, and the sport industry should learn how esports is developing their new business models to replicate them.
Okay, we've got one. I think we've got 45 seconds. Here we go. Let's finish with this one at the bottom here.
Okay.
Do you think casual gamers would like having the option to do grocery shopping inside the game, or is it a step too far? Or do you think that that's just, is that simply how people are going to be living their lives?
Why not? Why not? I mean, at the end of the day, now I'm buying clothing about the team that I follow, right? And nobody's surprised that it's going on if I follow Juve in Italy, right? But some people are surprised if I do that on esports. For the esports community, it will be normal. It may even facilitate my life that one click and I have everything ordered and it's cool. In fact, it's happening nowadays with some deliveries of food. So you can have some fast food delivered to you. Why not healthy food? I mean, it's just because big brands with fast food have been there first, but you can segment the audience and create a business case for every product that you have.
So it's all going to be integrated?
Yes, I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an ecosystem, a community in there. We are not surprised that we go to watch soccer, football at the moment and we can order food to our seats, right? So why should be surprised if we do that on the esports scene, on digital or physical? It doesn't matter. The blurry line between digital and physical is moving this way. It's not like, okay, here is the line, you cannot do this on one or another. It's blurring all the time because now we have the technologies and the capabilities and the price point perspective to get our devices into there and enjoy the experience.
Well, Federico, it's been great to rattle through so many questions. We are being flashed at now. We have to stop. Round of applause for Federico, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Thank you, Federico.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. And you.